Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the 52 Love podcast. This has been an exciting journey all last year. I had a blog about love tips, giving intimacy feedback and tips about how to improve relationships, and it manifested into a podcast this year. And I have, for my very first guest on my very first episode, Ms. Angela Anderson. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. How are you? I am Angela Anderson of Angela Anderson Presents, and I do a lot of literary events, and I actually have a show that's called Angela's Literary Tea.
Which makes her the perfect guest for this episode. But first, we will just go into a little bit about what Angela does for the literary community, and she can talk about her show.
Yes, I am a literary editor. I started off being like an avid reader and doing beta reads for authors as well as reviewing books for authors. But I've always had a passion for reading since elementary school. I was that kid that literally loved library day. Like going to the library was like so exciting for me. And so as I got older and over the years, just that love and that passion for just the craft of writing and the craft of, just reading, it actually helped me to develop Angela Anderson Presents, which provides editorial services for authors. I provide literary events, marketing, PR, all of those different things. And then they actually ended up being Angela Anderson Presents. And out of that, birthed my literary cafe. So I also have like a literary cafe where I may do literary events. I have a 30-minute interview show that I do under the literary cafe. And then, like I said before, I also have Angela's Literary Tea, where oftentimes it is myself, it's an author, and then I'll have like a literary blogger or an avid reader, and we will actually have a live book discussion with the author. It's interactive, interengaging, so the audience get to participate, and we get to discuss some of the hot books that are out as well.
Very cool. What's the last book you discussed?
The last book that we discussed was, I was going to say Sharon C. Cooper, but actually they were in a trilogy. It actually was Cheryl Lister, Do Me. And it was a really, really good book. The discussion was awesome. The book, it was just fire. It was a
Ah,
five-star read for real.
now I know that I saw some of that because you talked about the Prince song "Do Me Too."
Yes, 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 yes. And actually, the trilogy is Show Me, Do Me, Love Me.
Well, on the topic of love, you did try this tip in your relationship, did you not?
Yes.
So the first tip that we have for the year is making tea or a hot beverage for your loved one on a cold day, just to show that you love them. And Angela tried that. Why don't you tell us about that experience?
Yes, and actually, it was actually kind of flipped, meaning my husband ended up making me hot tea. And the way that one thing about it for Angela's Literary Tea, of course, in addition to spilling the tea, we're actually drinking tea or the drink of your choice. But most of the time, I have hot lemon tea. That is my favorite. And my husband ended up having to make tea for me. He knew that I was busy trying to, get my makeup ready, get my outfit ready, all this stuff for the show. And of course, I needed my tea.
Right?
So he boiled the water and stuff for me and made the tea. And just that small gesture of him making that hot tea for me, one, it showed that he cared, and that, even in the midst of everything that I had going on, he took time out of his schedule to make sure that I had everything that I needed, for it. And believe it or not, it was like delicious. I even told I have another show that's called Fun Friday. I was even sharing with them. I was like, I call my husband Anderson. I was like, but I don't know what Anderson done to this tea, but this is like the best hot tea I've had. So it just, I don't know, probably because it was made with love. I mean, it just tasted different. It was delicious. And then just for that warm beverage that was going down, it was just extra special because it was made by my husband.
Right. Yeah. It tastes better when it's made with love, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, is this something that he regularly does for you, or is it just a coincidence that he happened to do it when we were about
For
to do
that
the show?
particular at that particular time, that was like a coincidence that he saw that I was kind of like rummaging around, and I had like only a few moments before I literally had to be on air, or what have you. But sometimes out the blue, he will make tea for me, or what have you, or he know that I love hot tea, so that just worked out really really good. But even going to just the small gesture of making tea, and I know we're talking about love and things of that nature. It
Mhm.
just goes to show that sometimes just a little bitty things, those small things are very memorable, and actually it could lead to other stuff.
Right. It's just a small reminder that, hey,
Yes.
you matter to me, and let me do this small thing for you and make your day a little bit
Yes.
easier. Acts of service are everything, you know?
Yes, one of the love languages too.
Yes. We will get to that later in the
Mm.
series. So I want to hear a little bit more about you being an editor. There are different types of editors. What kind of editing do you do?
I actually do developmental editing, which is one of my favorites. I do line editing and content editing, and then I do a final proofreading as well.
Now, would you do all of those things for the same person, or once you've done one type of editing, you think a different set of eyes should be on the project?
It actually depends on the client. Sometimes a client may have a specific need where they may have a team of editors, and then they may assign one portion of the editing to me or to whoever that editor is. And then I have some clients that they may do a bundle where I may do multiple forms of the editing process.
Mhm. And I hear that you're going to be teaching at a conference later this year. You want to tell us a little bit about that and what you're going to teach?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I have to say thank you to Tonya for the invite, or what have you. So yes, I will actually be teaching is it an editing 101 class? You have to remind me,
You're going
Tonya,
to
because
talk
I
about
remember.
your street team stuff. I mean, that stuff
Yes.
is amazing. Your marketing prowess.
Thank you for reminding me, guys. Tonya actually, she told me about this project. It was towards the end of the year, so of course, I've added it to my calendar and things of that nature. But in preparing for 2021, I'm like, wait a minute, what topic am I talking about?
Right.
But yes, that is like really exciting, for authors to form street teams, and actually have a group of super fans, to help market their books and help get their stuff out there, and just give them that extra support, or what have you. And then just that whole thing of marketing. Of course, we all know, with 2020 and the whole COVID-19 and all of that stuff, people kind of had to do a shift. So a lot of the marketing now and a lot of the promoting and a lot of the events are virtual. So you literally have to learn how to shift. So I am able to teach individuals. I have workshops, I have coaching sessions, about it as well. Just being able to shift and how to market and promote, as well as to engage with your street team virtually, in addition to in person. We can start doing in person stuff as well.
Right. And I should admit that's a double plug because it's the conference that I'm
Yes.
that I'm involved with. But, of course, Angela's amazing, so why wouldn't I invite her to participate in the conference?
Thank
And
you so much.
you have so many topics, of course, you're like, "Well, which one of the amazing things that I discussed do you want me to share here?"
I know when sometimes I think about my website or when I send stuff out, I try to literally list all those things that I do at the bottom, because a lot of times some individuals know me as, an avid reader, as a book reviewer, or an editor, but sometimes they don't know the other side of what I do. And that's one reason that I call it the Literary Cafe, because it's
Right.
all of those things, just up under that umbrella of the literary world, that I'm able to tap into. And for me, just being able to connect, authors and readers together, that's so fulfilling, for me to be able to do that.
And I have to say, when I initially invited you, it was as an editor. It's because I know you as we are both certified word nerds, right?
Yes, yes. You remembered.
Yeah. And so, but then you sent me your list of different things that you can share and you can teach. And it's like, you know what? I have other editors. I don't have anybody else who can bring this to the table. So that's why we're going with your marketing skills, because
Yes.
that's a level that so many people need, and especially because of the shift that needed to happen this past year, you bring something that nobody else can. And so I'm really excited to have you at the conference, and I'm super glad to have you here. Your literary cafe is a wonderful place to share your literary tea, and it just made you the perfect first guest for this season.
Well, thank you so much. And just to be able to do the literary tea and the ones that we've done, throughout 2020, and I'm super excited. We will start back up this month. But think about all of the individuals who love literary events as much as I do, or just being able to have the opportunity. I know some of the bloggers and the readers that we've had on to meet some of their favorite authors. I mean, it's virtual, of course, but to be able to have a live book discussion with their favorite author, they have just really enjoyed themselves. And
Right.
also to have the audience to be able to participate in the book discussions. I mean, we've had some amazing discussions.
And you bring up all these literary events. We met at a literary event. I feel like
We did.
we should give a Pathfinder shout out. We
Yes. Look, we are proud Pathfinder. Shout out to Jorlyn M. Ross,
right?
Passion Publishing, Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business.
It just rolls off the tongue, always ready with the promo, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Jorlyn is amazing. And I tell people, look, this is a plug for her, but I tell people that her book, Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business, is a reference book for not only authors, but I mean, even business owners can use
Right.
it. And I remember sharing with Jorlyn, I said, you know what? When individuals use this book as a reference guide, it's one of those books that definitely you will keep with you always. And you'll have, you'll underline stuff, you'll have notes or what have you. You definitely, people have to get their own because you definitely wouldn't want to share yours.
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong. I have seen the marked up copies and the tabs, and it's just, man,
Yes,
I don't want to look through that book. I
absolutely.
want my pretty one,
Right, right. And for me, it's actually one of the books that, and Jorlyn didn't even ask me to do this, but I truly believe in that book and the project and the wealth of information and knowledge that's
Yeah.
inside of that book that I recommend it to like all of my clients because
Yeah.
it's just that good.
Yeah. I
It's one of
recommend it
those
too.
must-haves.
Yeah. And she's going to be on the show too. And
Oh, wow.
she has so many books, it's going to be a matter of which one is she going to plug. So we've plugged this one,
Absolutely.
Joylyn. We
Yes,
got this one. Is there anything else that
absolutely.
you would like to share with people about where to find you or how they can support you in your interests?
Absolutely. My website is www.angelaandersonpresents.com. And then you can actually find me on Instagram at Angela Anderson Presents. I am on Facebook. My personal page on Facebook is Angela Anderson, but my business page is Angela Anderson Presents. Also, every Friday at 12 o'clock, me and my co host, we have what we call Fun Friday. You can actually see us on the Sisters of Faith page on Facebook or go to our YouTube channel. So Instagram, Facebook, my website.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being my very first guest. And I thank all of you for listening and watching. And if I could leave you with one parting word, it would be just remember that love is a verb. If you enjoyed what you saw here, please make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Thank you very much.
Bye.